In this video tutorial you will learn how switching devices are controlled through the mimic diagram of ED2 devices. ED2 devices allow you to control switching devices using the mimic diagram on the front panel of the IED, if available. To control switching devices, go to the mimic diagram menu item. Control is possible when the IED is in the local mode. You can see which control mode the device is in the mimic diagram section, where remote corresponds to the remote mode, and local, to the local one. Depending on the device settings, you can change the local remote control mode in one of three ways. You can find out how the control mode change is provided in a particular IED using the configurator software. In the System Parameters section, the Control Mode tab, the source for changing IED control mode local remote parameter. Let us consider changing the control mode of the device in each of the ways. If the source for changing the control mode is assigned to an electronic switch, then you can change the mode by pressing the SB1 key for 3 seconds. Next, enter the password of a user with rights to control electronic switches. You can learn how to view the rights of IED users from the video tutorial on the operation of ED2 devices, User Administration Settings. After authorization, a message will appear on the screen about switching to the local mode. If the control mode is changed by a logical signal, then to set the mode to local, it is necessary to generate the signal specified in the signal for switching to control mode local parameter. For example, this can be implemented using a binary input, the signal to which is supplied through an operational switch. If the source for changing the control mode is assigned to the button LR on the front panel, then to control switching devices in the mimic diagram section, hold down the LR key. Next, enter the password of the user with corresponding rights, after which the IED switches to the local control mode. Movement between switching devices is carried out by arrows. The selected element is highlighted with a frame. If the device is in the remote control mode, then navigation on the mimic diagram will not be available. We move on to the control of the selected switching device by pressing the Enter key. For a switching device such as a circuit breaker, in the window that appears, you can select the close or trip command, regardless of the current position of the circuit breaker. This can be useful, for example, if it is necessary to acknowledge the automatic circuit breaker trip alarm by issuing a repeated tripping command. Next, select the desired command, and then confirm the action. Or press the Escape key to cancel. After switching the device, the display of its position on the mimic diagram will change. When controlling a disconnector or earthing switch, depending on the current position of the switching device, either the close or trip command will be available by default. For a multi-page mimic diagram, switching to the required page is carried out by links. To do this, select the next page by pressing the Enter key. In the case of an unreliable state of the switching device, that is, with simultaneous absence of the closed and tripped position signals, the switching device will be displayed on the mimic diagram with a question mark. If a switching device, such as a disconnector or an earthing switch, simultaneously has the closed and tripped signals, then the switching device is in an intermediate state. On the mimic diagram, the switching device will be displayed with the corresponding sign. If the switching device maintains an intermediate state for a long time, then after a preset time interval, the display on the mimic diagram of this switching device will change to the sign of a faulty state. If a switching device, such as a circuit breaker, simultaneously has the closed and tripped position signals, then it will be displayed on the mimic diagram as a sign of a faulty condition. In these positions, control of the switching device is disabled, and pressing it will display a corresponding message. Please note that if the control key in the drive of the switching device is in the local position, then the control of the switching device from the mimic diagram will be impossible. The letter L will be displayed next to the switching device. If the interlocking logic does not allow control of the switching device, then a sign in the form of a closed padlock will be displayed next to it. In this case, the control of this switching device will be disabled, and, when pressed, a corresponding message will be displayed. Therefore, to enable control of this switching device, it is necessary to fulfill the conditions for enabling control from the interlocking logic. You can learn how to view these conditions from the video tutorial on configuring ED2 devices, creation and adjustment of interlocking logic and switching device control logic. To control the switching device in emergency situations, it is possible to bypass the interlocking logic using a key of emergency unlocking. This key can be implemented as a switch in the cabinet or an electronic switch on the front panel of the IED. You can learn more about working with electronic switches from the video tutorial on configuring ED2 devices, telecontrol, functions, and setting groups. For security purposes and to prevent unauthorized entry of emergency unlocking when working with electronic switches, authorization with a password is provided, and when using the operational switch, it can be possible to install a seal or a padlock with a non-standard key. After applying the emergency unlocking, the symbol in the form of an open padlock will be displayed on the mimic diagram, and control of the switching device will be available. Unlocking must be carried out in accordance with the instructions of the operating company. When performing switching in the unlocked state of the interlocking, it is necessary to make sure that the operations performed are safe, since erroneous actions can lead to damage to the primary equipment and harm to the health of the operating personnel. This video tutorial is over. We hope it was useful to you. Thank you for attention.